Hi, my name is Annie Jesko. I'm a senior at Youngstown State University. My major is primary education and intervention specialist, PK through 5. So today I would like to talk to you guys about the foundations of reading 190 OAE. Luckily, I passed the first time that I took it, and I scored a 277 on the exam. The study material that I found to be the most helpful was the MoMatrix book down right at the CRC. It's literally called The Foundations of Reading 190. And this book is not only free and accessible, but it's very comprehensive. It breaks down the entire exam into sections where it's easily digestible, and it refreshes your memory on all the information that we learned in all 4 Turing classes. So the MoMatrix study materials also include study exams. These exams will help you learn how to pace yourself and how to take a longer test like this, because it is a skill that you need to develop. For me, when I was first learning how to take this exam, I found it cumbersome to read that many questions and digest that much information in a time setting. So utilizing these practice exams will help you develop that skill of learning how to take the foundations of reading 190. So I highly encourage you taking it multiple times. Some key concepts that I would review before entering this exam, I'm just going to list them right off. So understand what phonological and phonemic awareness are. So the ability to hear and identify and manipulate phonemes, and the awareness of the structure of language. These will be critical for early reading development. So that's why it's important to know. It's also important to review phonics and word analysis. So letter sound correspondence, the alphabetic principle, decoding, encoding, morphology. It's also important to understand fluency, so how children read aloud. So rate, porosity, and accuracy, and how to build fluency in children. I would also review vocabulary development, so what explicit vocabulary instruction is, how context clues can be used. And I would also review reading comprehension. So what literal comprehension is, what inferential comprehension is, what evaluative comprehension is, and some comprehension strategies to help students monitor their own reading. So predicting, questioning, summarizing, visualizing, clarifying, all of these will be important to understand before taking this exam. I would also review how children learn how to write and the stages of writing development. Typically, the most rigorous part of the exam that people find the most difficulty with is the writing section of the exam. For this section, you'll have to analyze 2 samples of student writing. I cannot stress this enough. It is important to provide specific and detailed strengths and weaknesses of the student's writing. You cannot simply say the student uses good grammar conventions. You have to be able to specifically provide critical and constructive feedback in your sample. Furthermore, you'll have to be able to address how you would improve the student's areas of need as an educator. So you'll have to understand instructional strategies that benefit a variety of learners and that are specific and targeted for that specific area of need. So an example of this would be a student who is struggling with blends, for example. They might benefit from decodable texts because often encoding difficulties reflect in their decoding abilities. So offering the student ways to improve their decoding skills of blends might reflect in their encoding. It also might be important to incorporate sand writing, where the student practices a variety of words that contain blends in them and write in sand because it is multimodal and multisensory, and it is visual and it's kinesthetic and it's engaging for the student, so they might benefit from that instructional strategy. So to wrap it up, I find it incredibly beneficial to utilize the free and accessible resources down at the CRC, the MoMatrix study materials, because they're comprehensive and they will provide you a beautiful method of learning the material. I personally outlined the entire text, and that really deepened my knowledge of how students learn how to read. It's not only important to know this material for the test to pass, but it's also important to know this as a future educator, because one day you'll be teaching your students how to read. And the more that you understand it, the more that your students will benefit from your instruction. So thank you for listening, and I hope that I was helpful, and I wish you guys luck on your Foundations of Reading 190.